The kiln has cooled down enough now, and I can open it up. And look at this. Everything looks absolutely beautiful. See, that's glass is bulged up there. It is formed over. Look at the beautiful colors. And this one is all formed up here. And these strips I made here. Look at the beautiful zigzags. And then this here is going to be another glass skateboard. It's all formed very well. And Mary's pieces come out perfect here. What a wonderful job. Now we'll take this out of the kiln and clean it all up. A little bit of this was a little experimenting as usual. You never know what the kiln is going to actually wind up giving you. But this is gorgeous. Okay, and here we're using the large chips of broken glass. We've got three slightly different colors here, blue and white. I think it's going to look nice because it's going to contrast from the blue and white that's in the center, which is French vanilla and cobalt blue, which there's a reaction to it, so it should make a nice feature when it's slumped to the shape of the stainless steel molds that were on here earlier. Okay, and this is where we get to use up all our little pieces. We keep digging into the little piece box and finding ever smaller ones fit in between the other ones. And of course we know this one here, see, you see this? This says it has to be right there, and it knows it. So it can't be possibly wrong. Every piece has got a home. And we have lots and lots of small pieces that we have left from previous jobs, and some of them might not be small enough, like this one here. So we have these cutters right here, and it makes them smaller. See, and that looks good right there, does not? And we need a little blue over there, would be really nice. And here's a little skinny one here, and maybe it'll fit right in there. See, and here's a little yellow one here. Okay, now I'm going to start with the frit. And this is, of course, French vanilla and cobalt blue. So I'm going to surround it with the French vanilla. It should look interesting. Everything you do in glass is actually an experiment. I guess that's true of most art. You pick a color, you paint it on, and you say, oh, it's unexpected. It looks really good. And it's amazing how it surprises you. Yes, this is absolutely coming out wonderful. You see? That's French vanilla. It reacts with the cobalt blue. So I got to see how that happens. Okay. Alright, it looks like I got pretty good coverage, doesn't it? Alright. Now, we sort of cleaned it up a little. Everything wants to move. Everything wants to move. But I think that looks really good. Just like that. I'll move that over. Just a little bit. Okay. Fantastic. Oh, I got one of them. It's trying to leave home. There it goes. Right there. And of course, this one needs a little red one right there. And a little green one right there. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I fill it all in. And now I'm using some broken pieces of glass. They're all these colors here, which is a dark brown and a white opal. And painting with glass is just like painting with any other kind of paint. You do the background, and then you do the foreground, and you get the shapes, the colors, and then the textures. And this is the textures going on here. And of course, this is the unifying. This color here will unify the whole piece because it actually is appearing everywhere. And that adds a consistency to it. And then I'll finish this off, and then I shall put it in the kiln, and I'll show it to you before firing, and then of course after firing, and then of course we're going to slump it, and you'll see that when it's all finished. Be right back. Alright, we have the texture all done. Now I'm going to do the little surprise feature. I took this stringer and I put it in the kiln over a form that bent it to this shape, and this will just go in the center here. That'll just give it a little different look. You see? Now that just adds a lot to it. It's the unexpected, the line that's unexpected that finishes the piece. Okay, and here's the pieces that we made here. I really like this one a lot. So now, we close the door, we come over here, and we push this button right here, and it says start. And we wait to hear the click. See? Okay, wait for it. There it goes. It says the job is complete. It took 13.5 hours. and it's now 77 degrees inside. Let's open up the kiln and see how everything turned out. Yes, I love it. Look at this. This is going to go in this orientation right here. Oops. Yeah, there it goes. Like that, hanging on the wall. This one over here is going to be slumped in 3 places with stainless steel molds. This one's got 1 mold, 2 molds. Look how beautiful this came out. Look at this. There's a couple of my signature pieces. Some jewelry that my daughter made. A couple of experiments. Alright, now I'm going to take everything out of the kiln. Put it on a table here. Roll it over to the sink, wash it. Reline the kiln, and then put everything in for the slump, which we'll show you next. Okay, and before we put anything in the kiln on a stainless steel mold, we have to coat the molds with Zip or another boron nitrate product. We can brush it, we can spray it, and then sometimes we also use shelf paper. Now I'll let this dry, and see, I sprayed this. We'll let this dry, then I'll put another coat, and then I'll bring everything in and put it in the kiln, and we'll show you that process. Back to the kiln. Today we're going to show you how we do the slump part of this work. Everything here has got to be done in slightly different ways. So over here I have this set up on 4 stainless steel molds. They're all covered and everything, and I'm going to show you how I do the 5th one shortly. But right now we're going to do one for a skateboard. So here's the mold, and it is stainless steel. It's been used before, and I've got the bullseye shelf paper on here, and I put this in the kiln. You see it takes a lot of room, and then because the end here is a little flimsy, I put a brick here, and of course as it heats up the metal will become a little softer too. So I put that in there, and then I grab the piece of glass that's going to make the next skateboard, and see, and I balance it right there, like that. And then when it heats up, it'll slump right down the middle, and it'll all take the form. Okay, so now that's that one. Now I'm going to do this bowl here. Now this bowl I can't put the paper in, so I sprayed it with Zip and let it dry. And now it's ready to put the piece in there. And I'm making a bowl that has a clock face on it. So that's going to go right on top of here like this. Okay, so we've got that taken care of. And then over here we're going to do another piece. I just took a short break here. I had to take out the bowl, and I'm putting this one in to slump this piece of glass for a student because there just wasn't enough room in the kiln for everything. So she wants this slumped this way out. So that I had to use this side of the mold. There's a piece of stainless steel which I cured in the kiln. Okay, now the next thing I'm doing is, this is the last one. These are stainless steel molds that I'm making the lump on these things. This one here is going to be lumped up. This one's going to be lumped up, and I'm going to put them together back to back, and it's going to create a space in the middle where I have a third piece of glass that's going in. So in order to fit this in here, I put this here, I put this here. I'm putting the paper, I shouldn't need the paper, but I got the Zip and the paper because, I don't know. Okay, and I gotta look at that one, make sure everything is about the same. And I put that right on here. And that's all ready to fire. Now I'm gonna put a couple of small pieces in. Okay. This little mold has also been zipped, and it's going to make this little piece here for another student, and we're all set here. Then I'm going to make some pieces to fill in the center here. For right now, I added these 2 little pieces over here, which are going to bend to this shape, because I had a little extra space, and I put this in the middle instead of the bowl with the clock face because there just wasn't room for everything. But this will all be slumped now. And so we go over here, we close the kiln, and push the button that says start. Okay, it's complete. Took 10, how many hours? Complete 13 hours, and it's 121 degrees in there. Okay, I'll let it cool down a little bit more, and then I'll come back. The kiln has cooled down enough now, and I can open it up, and look at this. Everything looks absolutely beautiful. See, that's glass is bulged up there. It is formed over. Look at the beautiful colors. And this one is all formed up here. And these strips I made here. Look at the beautiful zigzags. And then this here is going to be another glass skateboard. It's all formed very well. And Mary's pieces come out perfect here. What a wonderful job. Now we'll take this out of the kiln and clean it all up. A little bit of this was a little experimenting as usual. You never know what the kiln is going to actually wind up giving you. But this is gorgeous. Yeah, I'll show you more soon.